Next, we have 2 notices of intent to cut wood or timber. One for PID 2-3-11, the other one for 68-3-2. I entertain a motion.
I'll move signature.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have 2 notices of lien on real property. One for PID 42-2-14 and the other one for 55-1-6-25.
What are the liens for and what are the amounts?
And these liens have to do with welfare extensions, and there is no amount listed. Okay, and the reason for that, I think, is because the amount changes. These are folks that are getting welfare money from the town. So,
Does it specify what they get for welfare, or is that not public information?
no, it's not public. So, I'll entertain a
One of them
motion.
was electricity, though, I'll tell you that. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
the
Yes.
solar project makes it. The
Yeah.
12 or 18.
Yeah. All right, so I'll entertain a motion on these two liens.
I'll make a motion to sign.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The final signature item I have, I think it's the final one, is the 2018 Lake Host Program Grant from New Hampshire Lakes Association. This is for the folks that man the boat ramps. And let's see, what's the amount of our grant this year? It's a payroll grant award of $2,150 toward the folks at the boat ramps.
I'll make a motion that we sign that.
Second.
All right.
It's a great program.
It is. I think we just,
It's like having a cop there, although they do a nice
They're
job.
nicer.
Right. It's
in the
great
last
to-
couple of years, the people we've had involved have taken a very appropriate approach
Very
as
appropriate.
well.
There's 2 people that have split it by next to my house, and just,
Yep.
they're like your next door neighbors, but they've made a difference too.
All right, this is just a single signature document for us. So,
I did want to add for you folks, as far as signatures, I remember the Avatar payment. Actually, the check has already been cut. It's just being held until that document was signed, if that helps with the numbers you were looking at for expenditures.
Presupposing a positive vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
probably back when it was going to just zip right through. All right. Selectmen's update. Tip.
I mean, I had an update too.
Okay. Well,
Moving
we
on.
can come back to you if
I've
you.
been here so long, I forgot.
I know.
Anyway,
All right. Lloyd.
I had a couple things to talk about, but they're in the correspondence.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, to help you out, I'm going past my notes about things we've talked about, you know, like the Libby Museum path and whatnot, and I'll put them in alphabetical order.
All right.
This is not a criticism, it's just that,
All right.
things get lost.
Yep.
yes.
They do. Absolutely.
I'll pursue that.
All right. Couple of things that I want to mention. Next Monday, a week from today, 6:30 in the evening, we have a meeting at the Fire and Rescue Station, Central Station, concerning the community solar project. This is a public input session.
Do we decide to post that?
Well, I'm going to be there, and
I'm gonna be there.
so let's post it.
Yeah, okay,
That
sounds
that
good.
way there's no,
It was on the paper.
huh?
That
The
one?
notice is in the paper,
Yeah.
yes.
But
But
there
the
may be
question
two
is, if
selectmen.
we have a quorum of selectmen there, then we should post it as
Oh.
as a meeting. Not
We
that
did
we,
that for the OSPI
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, right,
meeting.
right.
I saw that one, yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to touch on, anyway, I'm hoping we'll get a good turnout of people who want to find out what's going on here, and the group is seeking active input from people as it relates to the potential locations of the solar panels. Several different alternatives have been looked at, and the concept of the project, in my mind, is solid, but if we get the grant and go forward with it, we want to make sure the execution works for the town and doesn't become just look at this darn thing up here.
I had a couple people, several people spoke to me, but 2 people. Well, it sounds like you selectmen have made up your mind and all that, and I said, read the minutes of the meeting, read the grant, watch the tapes. This is not anything that money's being spent on without your approval.
Right.
And I got both of them calmed down.
Yep, yep.
And to their credit, they went and spent some time and came and followed up on me. So
And I-
democracy at work.
I had some very thoughtful questions about
Okay.
and observations about the project from a few folks, so that's great. Moving along, I do want to touch on the planning board meeting last Thursday. We had site plan review on an addition of a yurt and 2 tent platforms at Camp Belknap, and an application for a home-based occupation at a home on Middle Road. And there was some ongoing discussion also about the sale of a lot out of the unperfected, maybe that's the wrong term, subdivision near your sister's place. And it appears from what council has said that those lots can't be sold until the subdivision is substantially completed.
Or bonded.
Right, and neither of which has happened.
Is this the series of lots that are on Lisden Road that goes off of Ledge Hill Road, and there's also another road that goes back to Dane Road?
Yeah.
Huh?
I
Yeah.
think that's all
It-
yeah.
in there.
'Cause some of those roads,
Well, this was a subdivision that was approved by the planning board many, many years ago. And apparently, after it was approved, it was deeded as individual lots rather than waiting until the subdivision got to the point where they could sell lots. So although the lots have been deeded individually, they can't be sold individually until the subdivision has achieved a substantial completion.
there's going to need some attention there. because
And one of the problems with old subdivisions, and one of the things that the planning board is going to be moving forward on now, is identifying both deeded and undeeded subdivisions from years ago that are out there and letting the owners know what the status is. For instance, if you did a subdivision 25 years ago and it was approved at the time and you never did anything with it, and you want to go in today to do the work, the standards have changed. So you're not grandfathered in because you didn't do the work on it at that point. So to take something that was done way in the past and go to bring it forward things have to happen. It has to go back through the planning board, et cetera, to get there. So the planning board is going to be working on pulling the information together and communicating with the owners of all those projects what the current status is and what would be required for them to move forward.
So a couple of issues I think that just come to my mind is for instance, the wetlands impact or wetland surveying, which I had to do at one point in my life on a big piece of property. I don't think that some of these older places have had that. But the other issue I think would be how is the piece being taxed currently? Because the last thing we want to get involved in is a taking.
Right.
So if they're being taxed as individual lots, we need to have a longer discussion.
Right.
About how we handle it.
Well, that's right. And as I say, there were some questions there, and additional information is going back to the attorney to get the definitive.
I don't think I know I'm not interested, and I'm sure you guys aren't, getting into another situation like the Zadida Farms.
Right.
No,
I mean, if that's why we have bonding, that's why we have
that's right.
substantial
Right on.
completions.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Yep.
Because those roads, maybe the developer says they're always going to be private, but we make them build them to town specs.
Exactly.
And then the association may decide, the town can help. And we don't have any options with it. If they're built to town specifications, we have to take them.
Both those roads in that area we talked about are in need of repair. There's been some major washouts.
Well, the logger didn't help them out any.
Correct.
Right. Okay. You think about what it was?
Well, I did happen to have a couple of conversations with people that I know who are on directors of different camps, not in Tufton Borough. And the Maris case, which I read, did you guys get a copy?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think we need to take our assessor, Rod Wood's advice and actually examine the charitable parts of these. So I would ask Karen to gather together any new information. There was some specific language about compensation of board members. So that may stretch its long tentacles into, right?
Did you get a copy of that?
Well, I have a case, so.
Okay, this is interesting. Go to page 2, and the Supreme Court has said these are the 4 tests.
Right.
That's on,
Right.
it hasn't gone to the
Oh, excuse
Supreme
me,
Court, Superior Court.
That's the Superior
Right,
Court.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to the Supreme Court.
Yes, right.
Right.
But,
And the 4 tests were out of the previous case.
Yep.
Right.
Right, and that's generally what they put together, tests
Yep.
to make things pass. But, yeah, I think it's, I know that one of the directors that I spoke to has an agreement with the town of Bristol, because they're up on Newfound Lake.
Mhm.
And they pay a substantially larger
Yes.
pilot payment taxes than any of the communities we have in town.
I bumped into it in Auburn where 7,000 acres is owned by Manchester Waterworks, and they pay a fee in lieu of taxes, and it's
Yeah.
negotiated every 3 years.
But I think if we don't, you know, I met with the campers last year, I'm sure I'll meet with them again this year after this case comes up. But I think if we're not proactive about it, then DRA is gonna tell us what we have to do.
Right.
I mean, I would rather present with, this is the agreement we have with each of these camps.
Absolutely.
And it's a reasonable agreement, and have DRA decide, okay, this is a reasonable
Be
agreement.
arbitrary.
This is what we as the directors of
Sure.
resources want you to do.
Yep. Well, and particularly, we have one camp in town that pays no
Yeah,
pilot.
right.
And,
Because in lieu of doesn't seem to pass there, they need a copy of Black's Law Dictionary to find the definition of in lieu of, I guess. And it's,
my understanding is it's a small piece of a bigger organization and they don't want to leave themselves open to, gee, if they pay it here, then they're going to have to pay it someplace else. But they're going to have to look very carefully.
From the other end of it, I would think would bring them to the table faster so they can make a reasonable agreement.
Mhm.
And if it's, 1% of the tax rate or whatever it is, they can take that off to their other places.
Yep.
Say, this is
And
reasonable.
the nice thing is that, talks, this is not an adversarial relationship. You're trying to be proactive and
Right.
responsible. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to correspondence. Ready? The first item in here, that's been in here several weeks, is the draft meeting schedule for the second half of the year. And are we ready to deal with
I
that?
can't think that far ahead, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
we've been,
Yep,
I have some concerns.
all right.
September, October, November, and December is the bay of funding. We just get jammed up because CIP, budgets, and whatnot. There's 11 no meeting dates. 3 of them are holidays. I want my holidays off like you do. But there's other 8 no meeting days. That's 8 hours of productive time that we just...
24 hours is the rate we're going.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
well, yes.
Well, and last year we dealt with it in work sessions, and that seemed to work fine to me.
I'd like to leave it open if we could. For instance, I can't meet this Friday, if that's coming up.
Right.
But other Fridays, we can make adjustments.
Well, one of the benefits of the work sessions, particularly as it relates to budgets, is we can kind of zero in, and we're just going to primarily work on these budget things on a Friday morning, get them knocked out, and move along.
I personally like Fridays because I gotta come in and sign the checks anyway, so I'm killing
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone. And this is not a criticism, but I'm looking at some of the decisions we make. If they're done at a Monday meeting and it goes to these different committees, it's our staff members that have to hustle if it's a Friday, so.
That's why they earn the big bucks.
Okay.
Make them hustle.
So,
I think Friday meetings are adjustable
Yep.
and
so
reasonable.
I do like your idea, Mr. Chairman, if we can zero in on 1 or 2, but you know what, at every work session, there's something that's got to be signed that's kind
Yep.
of a exigent circumstance, and I'm happy with that, so.
I'll make a motion that we sign this, or approve the schedule for the
back
second
half
half
of
of
the year. Okay,
2018.
all right. Do I hear a second? I'll second it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You're opposed?
Yes,
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
thank you for smiling.
No, that's, we shouldn't necessarily rubber stamp everything through. All right, the next item is LRPC data services. And this is, as it relates to, I think, the subject you were talking about with the roads.
Remember, didn't we want to do something as far as the wire that goes across the road?
Isn't it the highway,
Yeah.
the state highways, right?
No, there's 2 of them. Go to the back of one of the pages. It talks about
one of the
Traffic count.
traffic count.
data collection
Yeah.
program. Yes, one of the things that is an input to our pavement study is road usage.
Mhm.
And 2 ways you gather data. One is with the
Radar.
traffic counter, and the other one is with the little traffic monitoring box that either on the trailer or that the chief is getting, or during patrol. So I'm not averse to using their traffic counting.
My experience with it on Lion Pond Road was excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we have them coming for the pavement study, right?
Yeah,
So can we include that in?
I think that
Maybe.
that could be a good thing to
Yep.
include at that time. One of the things in my mind with respect to traffic that we need to have a good understanding is not just what the traffic is, but what's the traffic in May, what is it in July, what is it in October, and that sort of thing, because that affects the way the roads are.
I also thought about having it done twice a year for Clay, for his count up at the transfer station. Just a thought.
Okay. So, Karen, they're coming in
On the 7th, I believe.
on May 7th? Okay, so let's put this on for
Yep.
7th?
They'll bring information about guardrails too.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. Got a letter here from Carolyn Sundquist regarding the Hurlburt Trust. You see this?
I did not.
Okay. And
All right.
so, he's.
Yes, I read it.
All right. So she's, has,
Yeah, I need to revisit the trust, because I'm not certain she's correct, but
Yep.
if she's up.
Anyway.
I need to talk about it.
so that's something that we need to look into and follow up on. So,
Is that
I'll do that.
who's gonna replace her?
Well, you're right, exactly, sorry.
yep. Notice about the solar meeting, which we already talked about, and you are gonna put out a meeting notice on that, right?
Yep, no problem.
Operation Safe Stop, which Chief Shigori mentioned earlier.
Right.
And as I say, it's just, the idea that we have people that actually drive around, stop school buses in the town of Tuffham Road, just,
See, I always thought the school bus driver called that in.
Well,
Chevy pickup truck red with
Yeah.
plate number or something.
I thought they did, but
Or
all
whatever.
right. We have correspondence here from Lakes Region Planning Commission, request for nominations for the 2018 awards. They have the Kim Ayers Award for extraordinary voluntary effort to maintain and improve the environmental quality of the region. They have the award for excellence for organizations who have completed exciting and innovative projects in your community. And then community service awards for individuals who have made exceptional or sustained contributions. And the
should we give that to Steve Wingate? Because I know Dusty Davies won it a couple of years ago.
seems appropriate to me.
And I don't know,
Sure.
it wasn't the Kim Ayers Award, but
It was, yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Bird got an award for all their
Yeah.
years of water
Yeah.
testing. And he may have a couple of committee members, without giving names out, that have certainly gone beyond the.
Well, I would support that. And you, through the Conservation Commission, have been very close to what Steve has done. Would you take this on as putting the information together for the nomination?
Sure.
Okay?
About Steve.
Yeah,
About Steve.
that's what I thought we were nominating.
Yeah, but
We don't want him to write his own recommendation. though.
Sure.
right,
And I don't know that one.
yeah. I do know him well, but not not from the same perspective. And we have a correspondence here from Gina, Parks and Rec, with photos about the damaged
To the fence.
fence down at by the town beach. And is this something, this was damaged by the state highway folks as they pushed snow off this year up and over.
I don't think it's in their right of way, so I'm not sure.
Why don't you give it to me and I'll go and follow up on it?
Yeah, would you do that? And I mean, the fact that it's outside the right of way, but they damaged it with the snow,
Yeah.
would seem to be
And maybe
there.
an insurable event.
Yeah, there'd be
And
some,
there may be a way of just pulling the
Yep.
posts aren't bent, maybe there's a way of correcting the situation.
all right. An advertisement here for lifeguards for the Tuftonboro Town Beach. An email correspondence from Bob McWhirter, asking about barges that are tied up down the Melvin River, and asking that as we do the study for a new police station, if we could expand that and look at merging the health and public safety functions into one department. Consider locating a police department at the central fire station, or building a small facility next to the fire station, so we can eliminate duplicated space requirements.
We'll bring all that up.
Yep,
A public safety building was voted down at town meeting.
it was. Yep.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we got barges in the Melbourne River and we got active shooter training. We're like a real big town.
There you go, there you go. All right. So, other correspondence we have, and, I'm not gonna go through it all, but there's, I guess in my mind, the design work for the repair of the bridge on Salem Road is in here, along with some other things that might be worthy of review. Any other business?
In the legislative bulletin,
Oh, yeah.
there's quite a lot of talk about the net metering, which is going to affect the solar project that you're in.
Actually, I don't think it is, because it's larger solar installations is what the net metering thing.
Over
the
a
legislation's-
kilowatt. I don't
They
know how
raised it
big-
from
how
1 to
big is it?
5.
How
Yeah.
big is the one that we're proposing?
This is,
It's over a kilowatt.
Yeah. Let's see. 1 to 5 megawatts, okay,
Megawatt.
and this is 45 kW, so it's considerably smaller. This basically addresses solar farms, which is beyond, but there's mention in here of water quality monitoring and treatment. There's a water quality standards bill, and both of those have something to do with the PFAS, the chemicals that they found in the water downstate, so not way afield from what we're talking about with pharmaceuticals and personal care stuff that wasn't checked for in the past, and as you get involved, it's like, we got problems there, so better going forward to be proactive. So, yeah. What else? Am I missing anything else?
Not of any substance to us. I
Yes.
think.
All right.
There's some tax questions, but I think they
Yep.
got tabled.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yes, on the issue of taxes, tax liens, there were 2 pieces of property that Jackie recommended that we go forward on.
Right.
One was on Tuftonboro Neck, and she gave me an interesting history on that. Might want to talk to her. The other one was can't make contact, or they're not responding up in Wildwood.
Right.
Now, Wildwood is an association, and in talking with her, you know, it's not like taking a property in the trailer park where we're responsible for fees, but before I vote on that, I'd like to have the municipal association weigh in on it, if we could ask them. Jackie has some information about Hidden Valley, and the town did not, pay for snow plowing and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's automatic that you have to take on the obligations of the
Right.
Exactly.
association.
Well, you spoke pretty well, but I looked at those properties there, and it was her recommendation that we consider those two pieces of property.
Mhm.
And I have something else, but I'll...
Yeah, well, and the list that she has for deeding has gone down slightly from when we talked, it was 21 parcels, we're now down to 18, and she indicated a lot of these come in right under the deadline. So deeding date is May 8th. So those that are coming to 3 years in arrears, it's to great benefit to them to pay some of their taxes so they don't lose it, because once they lose it, they gotta pay all of the back taxes, interest and fees, and if it's not owner occupied, the penalty in order to get it back.
And on that note, did you see where the legislature is looking to make it?
The interest rates are 18% currently, so
Right.
it's.
Yeah, they are, and they're looking at adjusting them down, but it's sort of a convoluted approach that they're looking at taking on that. All right, you had another...
Yes, I think it was passed over. This is a copy of the highway funding fact sheet that Lakes
Yep.
Region made available.
Yep,
And I asked which ones can I say that Tufton Borough supports.
yep.
And they'll be talking about that next Tuesday, next Wednesday.
Well, I'll give you my opinion. Increasing the rate on the tolls, I think is fine as long as it's used on the toll roads.
It has to be, doesn't it?
You know,
I don't think
well,
they had to change that, did
but the move that was afoot last year was to
they? Throw it in the
bring it in
general
and then it goes into the general fund. So, if you're paying for a toll road, that's where that money ought to go.
I agree with that.
State aid to highways, and certainly that's something that helps us all going forward. And it helps towns to stretch their budgets in terms of rebuilding these roads. So to have it, in my view, to have that reinstituted going forward, it benefits and is this just for like unnumbered state highways, or is this a general?
I will ask that question.
I mean, you mentioned Middleton Road.
Yes.
Middleton Road is an unnumbered state highway.
Yes.
So that was a partnership between the town and the state to get it rebuilt, and maybe it got reclassified. It's no longer an unnumbered state. I don't know. At any
I
rate.
think it has a number, but
Right.
it's certainly older than most roads.
Right.
Correct.
But didn't Wolfboro took over ownership of that?
Yes.
Yes,
It
right.
allowed negotiation.
Right.